As a small business owner, you probably have found yourself from time to time wanting to make a lot of money faster. Well, hang on. I've got a guest today that's going to help us with that very great opportunity. So it's Melanie Benson here, and I'm America's leading small business optimizer. And this weekly podcast is all about how to find the little things in your business that you can make perform better so that you can work less and get far greater results. I like to think of it as like, how can I grow exponentially? And today's guest is someone really special to me. Let me introduce her. Her name is Kate Beeders, and she's an internationally known business coach focused on helping passion-driven entrepreneurs be in charge of their own destiny by discovering the secrets of making money faster. And I had the great privilege of getting to know Kate a couple years back when we worked together in one of my programs here. And I got to tell you, she pulls together some of the most amazing tools to help entrepreneurs just like you get really extraordinary results. So it's always fun to bring back somebody that I've just felt so excited to see them grow and evolve and just become such a huge success. So Kate, welcome.
Thanks. I'm so happy and also honored to be here with you and being interviewed by you. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, and we'll just warn everybody that, Kate might have a little cough here and there. So we are privileged to have her here in the middle of getting over a little something that's trying to take her voice away. So glad you could make it anyway.
Thank you.
I always like to know how things started, but with you, you actually bring a really interesting technique to your coaching work with the tapping.
Mm.
And I would really like to know, how did you find tapping and decide to bring it into the business coaching that you do?
Well, but see, what I have to explain to you is actually it was kind of backwards, Melanie.
Okay.
I found tapping actually on vacation. And when you go on vacation, you know how you try either new foods, new experiences, new drinks, whatever, right? Because it's like you're on vacation, it gives you like a passport to do new things.
Yeah.
And I just experienced tapping. I just came out of this meditation class, and the instructor had one of these like deep meditative voices, the type you would just like follow him anywhere, And so at the end of the class, I was complimenting him, told him how much I enjoyed it. And I apologize, everybody, I do have a throat lozenge in my mouth. But, and I just was saying, gee, I said, I feel so much healthier and all that. If only I could just give up eating ice cream. And the guy, like here we are in the Caribbean, he just kind of looked at me like, what? And I explained that I'm from Boston. And in Boston, you can get ice cream on every street corner year round, whenever you want it. And in high school, my best friend and I had even worked at an ice cream shop. And everyone kept saying, oh, you can end up hating it. Didn't happen, loved it even more. And I said, look, I still love ice cream. And I said, it's not so much about the losing weight, but it's not that healthy. It's got sugar and fat and cream and all that kind of stuff. And he said, I just learned this technique. Can I try it out on you? So back to being on vacation. Oh, sure, whatever. And within, 5-10 minutes, I had as much interest eating ice cream as I did eating my iPhone. Okay. It just was like, yeah, whatever. I just didn't think about it. And then I went off and went down to the beach and didn't think twice about it. And over the next few months, he just kept helping me with other issues in my life. I call him over Skype. And this was, 5-6 years ago when Skype isn't what it is today. I mean, it used to cut off every 2-3 minutes.
Yeah.
And I just loved what it was doing. And I just started learning more and more about it. I ended up spending tens of thousands of dollars just being really highly certified on it. But truthfully, initially when I first went into business, it was not to be a business coach because I had just left the business world and I was resisting it. I was like, how sometimes you kind of like, I want anything but. It's like, go away. But everyone kept looking around and seeing, because I was getting clients and they were like, how come you're doing that? How come you can do this? And it's like, oh, it's easy. I know from my business background. So that's kind of what put me in. And then I realized that I put my two things together. It was like magic. So.
And let's explain to everybody what tapping is and how you would use it when you're working with someone in business.
So tapping is a mindset technique. It's been around for a couple of decades, and I'm just going to give the nickel version. It really just helps you release old stories, old beliefs, old thoughts, the negative talk, that chitter chatter that kind of keeps you stuck. And it's a really gentle technique. Looks kind of goofy because you're tapping on certain points of your face and upper body. You say certain phrases, but the truth is that it works so fast. It's gentle. And I love the fact that someone could at one point be feeling stressed and overwhelmed, and within a matter of minutes or even less to go feeling excited about something. Mm-hmm. And that's what I truly love, because it's not only helped me change things in my life, all the way around, 180 degrees around, but my clients too. So, Melanie, it could be anything from helping a client who's overwhelmed, anything for helping somebody who is procrastinating, somebody who has a fear like, oh, it's not good enough. Maybe they look at what you're doing and they're like, how could I ever do a podcast? And so they don't even want to try because they look at someone like you and helping, work through that through tapping, saying, wait a minute, we all have to start somewhere, and, you can, aspire to be that good, so anything like that, and just taking chances. People having a fear of public speaking because they remember in second grade they got laughed at because they forgot their lines. So many different things, as well as money stories, money beliefs. I mean, you name it, everything affects us because we are our own business.
Yeah. And as you know, money beliefs are such a huge part of what everybody has to get over at some point. And whether you think you have a lot of money, or you have a little money, or you're struggling with money, or you have up and down cash flow issues, there's always some kind of belief that's the undercurrent that is causing you to have the experience you have right now. So we'll get into that in a minute. What you talk about, making money fast. And so, some people are going to go, yes, I want to be able to make more money fast. And then some other people might say to themselves, okay, could that be hocus pocus? Is that possible? Do good things happen like that? Let's talk about what the reality is of shifting gears and maybe even our own limiting beliefs, and be able to really tap into making money quickly.
So, and that's so great because you are right. Some people are like, woohoo, let's do it, bring it on.
Yep.
And other people are kind of like, yeah, right. And it's really just, I have this belief, and it's kind of who I am. Like, one of my personality traits is that I'm like, if I can get something done faster, let's do it faster. And so that's just how I believe it. And I just find that the way I'm able to help both myself and then my clients is that helping them, figure out exactly what they're trying to create, give them the clarity, clear out the blocks in the way, and to exactly what they have to do, because you can't just sit around and go, woo, let the money just fall from the ceiling. And I find when I put all that together, Melanie, that's when people get the really fast results. And if it can happen faster, great. Because, otherwise you could sit there if you want to spend a year, 2 years, whatever, great, 5 years, 10 years. But if I can help you get there faster, maybe half as fast, twice as fast or whatever, I think it's worth doing.
Have you ever had that client who they're doing all the right stuff and it's just not working? Because I know I have. I'm wondering, what would you help them with? Because I'm going to make this up, but I've got to believe there's a lot of people that are watching this podcast that they're trying everything. They're following what the gurus say to do. They've hired coaches, they've hired mentors, and it's just not working. What would you say to that?
So it's a couple of different things, and it's such a great question, Melanie. And what I really look at is, first of all, why do they want to get to what they say they want? So what their success is, because I find very often what someone wants for success is maybe saying they believe should be successful and isn't always what they want. So that's the first thing, is figure out, are they really headed where they want to go? And then the other thing too is, so what's holding them back? And sometimes, they say they're doing stuff, but they really aren't. It's like people who go on diets, and then when the nutritionist actually has them actually list down every day what they're doing, and then they find out, gee, yeah, I guess I am eating cake every day, or I'm not just eating one cookie, I'm eating 5 cookies. Because I find a lot of my clients, if they're not seeing the results as fast, and I say, well, how many calls are you making, or how many networking events? And when they actually look at it, they realize it's not as either regular or as much as they think they're doing. So I think part of it is really looking at what actually are you doing, and also tweaking things. Because sometimes people can go through the motions, Melanie. I had one client, and she never went to networking events, and I got her to go to them, and then she's like, Kate, I don't really like it. She goes, I'm not having a good experience. And I said, well, then great, let's change your experience, And I had her just totally go in with a totally different attitude, and as a result, she started attracting ideal clients to her.
Bingo. So, you just hit the nail on the head. It's like, what is the experience you're creating, and what are you telling yourself about that? I love that. Okay, go on.
So that's part of it too. And then also, a lot of us have, all of us do. We all have our own stories. Mm-hmm. And that's why we keep sabotaging ourselves. So a person, like these people, you're talking about, we've all dealt with them. They can start having some success, and then bam, they start hitting that ceiling, then all of a sudden that stuff starts popping up. And that's when you got to do the clearing, the mindset work, because it doesn't matter. You could do all the calls in the world, do all the amazing Facebook posts or whatever. But if you've got this belief that either you don't deserve it or you can't keep it or any of that stuff you're telling yourself, you will prove yourself right.
So we've talked about the idea that you can make money fast.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I know you. You do. If you could do something faster, you are the master of that. What's an example of how somebody could speed up their ability to generate cash flow in their business?
Yeah, so I think what a couple of things that I really tell people to do is, again, the clarity is so huge. And I know people talk about clarity, but people have to really understand, you have to know exactly what it is you want to create. And it can't just
And you're not talking about clarity of how, you're talking about clarity of what do you want to have happen here. Just
exactly.
that simple. Everybody can do that.
Exactly. But a lot of people don't take the time. And I'm sure you've had conversations with people who are potential clients and they get on the phone, you say, how much money do you want to make? And they say 6 figures. I mean, everybody says that. I'm sure I said at one point too.
Yeah.
We have no clue what that actually means. It's just like 6 figures is that magic number. And so for someone manifesting faster money, they really have to be clear on what is it that they want to attract? Why do they want to attract that money? What does it actually look like in their life? Because if someone wants to attract 6 figures, but they've got this fear like, oh, it means I'm going to have to work way too hard. Well, they've got a conflict.
Yeah.
Because you can't attract it if you're not willing to do the work, if you think I'm going to work too hard. Years ago, I had a client, this was a funny story. She came to me for business, but she was fairly newly married, a couple of years. She wanted to get pregnant and she wanted to lose weight at the same time, Melanie. And now I've never had a baby, but I'm a favorite aunt, and I know enough to know that you can't say, I want to get pregnant and lose weight at the same time. I mean, your body gets this really mixed message, and as a result, nothing will happen. And it's the same with you and your business. So that's why the clarity and really knowing what it is that you want to create and working through those blocks has to happen, because otherwise you're just going to stay still. And the other piece is you got to know, so if you want to go faster, you got to really know what is it that you need to do. What's your fastest path to cash? And for some people right away know, like, hey, I know if I go to this networking event, I always get a client. Or I know if I do this, this is where I get my clients. So you really have to have a good indication of what are good fast paths to cash for you. And if not, then a coach, someone like me or you, would really help somebody kind of do some digging to see where your fastest path of cash is. And then the last piece I really get people into is their zone of genius. And that's when you do things and I like to describe it like when you say something, you kind of look around like, who just said that? Because it was so brilliant. And you feel like someone should either be recording it or writing it down because you just wanted, immortalized forever. And really knowing what are the things that you do that are like that. I have one client and, everyone else I have been picking up the phone, making calls. She lives in a small town in the South. I don't have her make calls, Melanie, because she can go, if she made calls, she would actually end up turning people off. Instead, when I have her going to make a lot of fast cash, I have her go to the drugstore, go get nail polish, get her hair done, go to McDonald's, go wherever, because when she's out in public, she gets clients. And
That's
so
interesting.
It is, and it's really, so I really believe that you don't do cookie cutter. It's like what's going to work best for you, and that's how you have to go approach that. And really being in touch with what does work best for you, and not just out of fear, but what, so you're avoiding something, but what really does work best for you.
And you just surfaced something I think is really essential for everyone to just take a minute and take this in. You see, the cash is already there. The opportunity is already there.
Yep.
The money isn't coming from someplace new. It's having a coach. What they do is they kind of pull back the curtain and say, see that blind spot over there? You don't notice that that's where the money is, but it's right in front of you. Mm-hmm. And I like to say that hiring a coach is the fastest way to start getting a new result, because we see things that you can't see because you have been seeing them from the same perspective for way too long.
That's right.
And so it's, I think sometimes people get confused about what a coach really can do for them because it's so unique, and for each person it's very different. But I love that you just brought that out. You're not doing anything magical. You're just pulling back the curtains and helping people see what's right in front of them, but their stories and their lens and the way they see the world is causing them to not see it as an opportunity.
Mm-hmm. You're right. And the cash, the money's always there. The money is always there. It's just that people don't always know where to find it.
Yeah, that is so true. And, I think it's really helpful that you're talking about this because, again, some people get caught up in the rat race and they forget to take a step off and look back. But I know every really great success story also has their own journey. The challenges, that pivotal moment. And I'm kind of curious, what has been one of your greatest challenges along the way, that you had to really face? And, maybe it was with one of your coaches, or maybe, in some journey of training or whatever, you got to look at this and go, oh, I got to do this differently so I can get a better result.
Yeah, I would say probably one of the biggest thing, and this is why I love teaching now, is about charging what you're worth, because
Yeah.
I never could talk about money, Melanie. And when I was in corporate, I was able to talk about multi-million dollar deals, but it wasn't my money. It was someone else's money, and I could talk about that forever. But when it came to actually saying, yeah, for you to work with me, it's X amount, I could never get that out. I was always doing trades. I was giving things away. Offering discounts. I mean, all that kind of stuff. And now I never let my clients use that word discount or trades. I mean, it's like, in the Bible, you can't use that anymore. But I used to always do that all the time, and I could never talk about money. And I believe that when you charge what you're worth, it's so much more than just actually getting paid a certain amount of money. It's really how you start showing up in your world. And for me, the big thing I always talk about is being brilliant. And it's really just showing up in your brilliance, because the money is just an outcome. It really has very little to do with it. But when you actually own who you are, and you're able to say, like, it's X amount to work with me, and you're able to set boundaries, you also show up in your personal life that way too, and you start making a stand for yourself. And to me, that's where the real reward is. That's where the real abundance is.
Yeah, I can see that. I think a lot of people share that one, like, how do I charge what I'm worth? How do I ask for it? How do I overcome my fear of being rejected? There's a lot that gets tied up in that, and I can relate to it. And, in my experience, I think we may have talked about this somewhere along the line, but when I was charging less, it was harder for me to get clients. When I was charging more and really proportionate with the value I gave, I always had more than enough clients. It's like it's an interesting psychological shift for a lot of people to get that, but I'm sure you've experienced something similar, that when you really do charge what you're worth, people get that is a good investment.
Absolutely. It's also kind of paradoxical too, because when you show up, Melanie, or any of us show up and we say it's X amount when we're really charging what we're worth, we're coming from a place of confidence. If you're able to do it that way. I also know people who raise their rates really crazy amounts that they feel is crazy, and then they end up getting cancellations and losing people. Yeah, but when you actually know that you are worth this much, you come from a place that really magnetizes people. Whereas if you're kind of going, oh, it's X amount to work with me, and you're kind of playing it small and you're giving things away, you're kind of not setting up that you're worth a lot.
Okay, so we were talking about the challenges with people charging what they're worth, and I want to make sure you had a chance to complete your thought or your statement. Did you feel complete there?
Well, I think that it's just really important for people to understand that charging what you're worth, yes, it has to do with the money, but it's also so much more than just the money. Because when you're able to really stand for who you are and your value of what you're offering, whether it's a client or customers or whomever, that you also start showing up in your personal life that way too.
So it's a congruency all the way through. Absolutely. Yeah. So I would like to do something if you're willing.
Sure.
Could we possibly just take a minute to give people an example of if they were having a hard time charging what they're worth? That's what's up for you. Maybe you don't know how to take your prices to the next level or something about that. Could you show us a quick tapping exercise that would help free that up and open that up?
Sure, but I have to just tell everybody with tapping, it looks goofy. So if you've never tapped before, it looks kind of silly. Okay. And also, too, because we're doing this over the internet, I can't be, you've got to be responsible for your own mental health. Tapping's meant to be really gentle, but if for whatever reason you're like, I can't stand this, then stop tapping. So.
Yeah, if you have physical sensitivities and it feels horrible, don't do it.
But if it does.
And I also just want to remind everybody, my job here is to expose you to really innovative and powerful ways to create transformation in your life. So take it or leave it. This is just a great opportunity to learn from a master, a technique that she gets charged a lot of money to, or that she gets paid a lot of money, I should say, to, teach people how to do. So I really appreciate you being willing to do this, because I think it's great for people to get an experience of it.
Sure.
All right.
So everybody, this is kind of like Simon Says. So I'm going to tap certain places using my hands and then tapping on my face and all that, and just tap along. Melanie, you'll be my echo.
I will be your guinea pig.
Thank you. So everybody listening, you just want to, when Melanie repeats after me, that's when you want to be repeating after me and just tap where I tap. So we're going to start with karate chop. So a couple of fingers tapping the side of the hand.
Right here?
Yep, exactly.
Oh, right here. Here we go.
Yep. Even though I don't believe I can charge what I'm worth.
I don't believe I can charge what I'm worth.
Because that would just be just plain crazy.
That would just be plain crazy.
I want to find a way to love and accept myself.
I want to find a way to love and accept myself.
Even though
I
don't think I can charge what I'm worth.
I don't think I can charge what I'm worth.
Because I don't think I'm at that place yet.
Because I don't think I'm at that place yet.
When I can charge more.
When I can charge more.
I want to find a way to love and accept myself.
I want to find a way to love and accept myself.
Even though
I
don't think I can charge what I'm worth.
I don't think I can charge what I'm worth.
I still want to find a way to love and accept myself.
I still want to find a way to love and accept myself.
Okay, so we're going to go to the eyebrow points, and I like to always tap with two hands. We're going to just start right at the inner eye.
Okay.
I don't believe I can charge what I'm worth.
I didn't hear that first part, Kate. Sorry.
I don't believe I can charge what I'm worth.
I don't believe I can charge what I'm worth.
And now to the outer eyebrow. I don't believe I can charge what I'm worth.
I don't believe I can charge what I'm worth.
And under the eye, I don't believe I could charge what I'm worth.
I don't believe I can charge what I'm worth.
And under nose, it just seems crazy.
It just seems crazy.
Chin point, how could I ever do that?
How could I ever do that?
Collarbone, how could I charge more money? Okay, here you go. How can I charge more money?
So how can I charge more money?
And then the underarm, I don't know if it'll really show up, but like 4 inches below the underarm. That's just too much.
That's just too much.
And then liver point, which might be a little hard to see, it's right below like your underwire bra.
Right here?
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
That's just too much money.
That's just too much money.
And then wrist point. I could never charge that much.
I can never charge that much.
Top of the head. It's safer to stay where I am.
It's safer to stay where I am.
Inner eye. I don't want to lose people.
I don't want to lose people.
I don't want clients to get mad at me.
I don't want clients to get mad at me.
Under eye. And besides, who would ever pay me more money?
Besides, who would ever pay me more money?
Under nose. So I've got all sorts of reasons.
I've got all sorts of reasons.
Why I shouldn't charge more.
Why I shouldn't charge more.
And I can listen to those reasons.
And I can listen to those reasons.
Underarm. Because they're really good reasons.
Because they're really good reasons.
Liver point. At least I believe so.
At least I can believe so.
Liver, inner wrist. But that could be keeping me stuck.
But that could be keeping me stuck.
Top of the head. And I don't know if I want to stay stuck anymore.
And I don't know if I want to stay stuck anymore.
So what if I could open my mind?
So what if I could open my mind?
And my brain.
And my brain.
My heart.
And my heart.
To say maybe I am worth more money.
To say maybe I am worth more money.
And start to learn how to do that.
And
start to learn how to do that.
And start to learn how to do that.
Get the support I need.
And get the support I need.
From my coach.
From my coach.
Or liver point or other mentors.
And other mentors.
So I feel really comfortable doing this.
So I feel really comfortable doing this.
And know that I am safe.
I know that I am safe.
Okay, so take a nice deep breath. Let it out slowly. And what people should find is that they start to feel like a little bit of a shift, and that's just one round, but they might start feeling like, maybe I could kind of do this. And it might also bring up other stuff too, like, oh, wait a minute, but I know Susie, she did it, and look what happened to her, or Joey did this. And that's okay, just write that stuff down. That's just more stuff to be cleared out.
Yeah, that's brilliant, and I really appreciate you taking the time to walk us through one of those exercises, because first of all, it does work. I've seen it work for you and your clients, and I've used it, and I know a lot of people that use this technique, and it's another way in.
That's right.
And you could try this one piece over and over and over again, and if you wanted to go deeper and work on other issues, we'll tell them in a few minutes how they could get more of Kate, but I'm just curious. I want to take things just a little bit deeper for a second, and I'm a firm believer that, for many entrepreneurs, one of the biggest reasons they're not making more money is they are maybe trying to do too much, or they're going in too many different directions, or they've got too much on their plate, or they keep finding themselves in overwhelm. And I'm just curious, if we were going to take a chapter out of Kate's life and learn something really powerful from you that could, help us learn from your own experiences, has there been something that you figured out, I need to do this better and really just master this one thing? I call it optimizing. If I'm going to take my business beyond the 6 figures.
And I've been thinking about that. And, honestly, I think the biggest thing I've learned to do, and I'm still learning to do, Melanie, and I know this is an area you love. Well, that's not why I'm giving this answer, but just really just delegating. I think it's really hard because as entrepreneurs, our business is like our baby. And it's very difficult for at least for me personally and for a lot of people I've met to like be able to kind of let go of things. And it's kind of like, you know, you kind of like you're holding on to things, you gradually keep like letting the hand off and the finger one at a time, and just really empowering my team to do more because that allows me to be in my zone of genius.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult because initially you see people don't always do it the same way you do. Only you realize if you actually give them some room, they can actually probably do it better than you very often. But I think it's that whole process because we are only one person, and to grow our business, we can only do so much. At some point, we've got to be able to hand things off, and I think it's learning how to do that with kind of a place from a place of grace and a place of power, from me to and for more powerful for me, and also to empower the people that I'm giving it to.
Well said. And I can't tell you how many of my guests say the same exact thing. It has something to do with delegating and you know, really leveraging other people to get more done. So knowing that, at what point, or was there a thought or a mantra or a mindset shift or something that happened for you that allowed you to do that better?
I think what really just hit me is one time I just said, I don't know, something just hit me, and I just said, I just can't do it all.
Yeah.
I just can't. And then I said, I don't know if I want to do it all. You know, like the part B, I don't know if I want to. Even if I had 1 million hours, I don't know if I want to be doing all this stuff. And I think as I gradually started giving my team things to do, and I saw how much they enjoy doing these things that I really don't like doing, I was like, wow, this is actually like a win-win for everybody. And I would say that's probably what happened, you know, and realizing too that, and I've had to do tapping around this too, Melanie, that it may not always come back the way I had always envisioned it, but that's okay too.
It is the high achievers trap because we can do it all. Yeah. To learn to let go and be supported and growing to the next level, because at a certain point we can't do everything it takes to grow and evolve past, you know, probably the early 6 figures. Most of us can get to 6 figures, but we can't get beyond that. We can't reach more people. We can't expand our reach and our impact. We can't do more good work in the world if we're trying to do it all ourselves or maintain, you know, a significant amount of control. You do have to let go to grow. And you know, there's a mantra that really helped me with this, and you've heard this from me before, but I'll share it because I'm going to ask you in a minute about a quote or a mantra that you love. But the one that really helps me remember to delegate is, if someone else can do it better, faster, or cheaper than me, I got to let it go because it's not in my best interest to keep it. So let's turn the table back to you, Kate. Is there a favorite mantra or quote that you use to help you stay in this inspired state, and maybe even you pull it out when you're having a stressful or challenging time?
I think something well, one of my favorites is just find a way. You know, sometimes you're just not really sure, and it's like, okay, I'm just going to find a way.
That's great. I love how simple it is too, because everyone can remember that one.
Yeah, and it sounds really basic, but it really isn't, because sometimes you don't know what that way is. And so you just kind of have to say, okay, so, you know, how can I find a way, or what do I have to do to make this happen? And just really being open. You know, I think curiosity sometimes is so important. And as a type A, we always want to know instantly, like, what's that answer? And I think sometimes it's okay to just be curious and say, like, you know, what do I need to do here?
Yeah. And curious is a great way to go into that. Instead of being attached and fear-based or, you know, putting all kinds of conditions on it, it's like, hey, I'm curious. What would have to happen? What would I have to be willing to do to make this happen?
Exactly. And then when you just kind of be open to that and see what kind of comes to you, and not judge it. I mean, some ideas might be good and some might be not so good, and that's okay. But just kind of opening that, because, you know I personally have been really surprised sometimes at what does pop up, and it's actually kind of cool.
I agree. Sometimes you get the best answers by not knowing where you're going and just being open.
Yeah, that's right. And just kind of letting go and allowing, and, you know, and realizing too that everything's really here to support us.
Mm-hmm. Great framework. I love it. So, Kate, I'm really excited to share you with my community here, and I know a lot of people are going to be really interested in connecting with you. Do you have a place that you want to share with people to come find out more about the way in which you support entrepreneurs in making money fast?
Absolutely. So I would just really say, go to my website. It's actually, we just redid it about a month and a half ago, so it's brand new. Check it out. And yeah, and I would say if you go to my website, I actually have a free report which talks about this whole process. And I would love for you to have that as a gift. It's the Money Acceleration System. And you just go sign up. We'll send it right out to you.
Beautiful. And I know Kate's stuff. It's great. It's a perfect complement to anything else you've learned. You want to know how to accelerate everything else you've been learning how to do. So thanks for sharing that with everybody. And I'd love to hear from you as you're listening in today. I'm sure Kate would be really curious too. What was a takeaway from today? And, will you put this tapping process into action? Will you find a way to accelerate? Will you get a coach or a mentor to help you look at your blind spot? What's your takeaway from today? If you're listening on iTunes, head over to melaniebensonstrick.com and look for us on the blog. And if you are already on the blog, just head down to the comment section below. Let us know what your aha or takeaway is from today and how you're going to put something into action. Because remember, it's not what you know, it's what you put into action that is really going to help you get better results. So thanks again, Kate, for being here. I really appreciate your time and your energy and sharing such great tips with everybody.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it. I'm really excited to hear what people have to say, what they learned from today.
Me too. All right. Bye, everybody. See you again next week.
Bye.